Welcome to the Friday 13th YouTube channel, Metalheads. Today I've got a fantastic album review for you. This is by a band from India called Kryptos. The band have just released their new album on AFM Records. It's called Decimator. Now, this is a fantastic album. The band have been around for quite some time now. So I'm going to give you a little insight about the band's history, and then we're going to talk about the album. Check out this review, Metalheads. Now, this band was formed back in 1998 by vocalist and guitarist Nolan Lewis, along with bass guitarist Ganesh K. And believe it or not, the band have released 7 albums. Now, this is pretty good for a band that a lot of people have not heard of before. Now, the band have released 7 albums. That pretty much says a lot for a band coming out of India. Now, the band are very much heavily influenced by the new wave of British heavy metal, and you can certainly hear it in the band's music. Such bands as Judas Priest, Saxon, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden are very much influenced in their band's music. Having said that, folks, they're also influenced by more modern bands such as Coroner, Creator, Candlemass, Merciful Fate. The list goes on. Now, the band would release their debut album called Spiral Ascent. This was released in 2004 for a label called Clandestine Music. This would also consist of the original lineup, which would be Candice K on bass guitar and vocals, Nolan Lewis on guitar, would also have Kashan Patel on guitar, along with drummer Ryan Kakolo. In 2008, the band released their next album. This was called the Ark of Gemini. Now, this was released on a Californian label called Old School Metal Records. Most of you may know this label. Now, this album would have a different lineup. Would have Nolan Lewis on guitar and vocals, who's still in the band today. Would also have Rohit Chaturvedi on guitars, Jayawant Tiwari on bass guitar, and also on drums would have Ryan Calico. So this was the lineup for the second album, the Ark of Gemini. Now, the band have released 7 albums. The next album that the band would release would be called Coils of Apollyon. This was released in 2012. This would also be followed by Burn Up the Night, which is in 2016. Then we'd have Afterburner 2019, followed by Force of Danger in 2021, and the new album, like I said, Decimator, which is in 2024 on AFM Records. Now, the new album pretty much has the same lineup. Would have a couple of lineup changes. On drums, would have Vijit Singh on drums. Would also have Ganesh K come back to the band. Rohit would be on guitars, lead guitars, and would have Nolan on rhythm guitars and vocals. So now I'm going to tell you what the song titles are for this new album. So now I'm going to tell you, folks, what the song titles are for this new album. We'd open up with Sirens of Steel. This would be followed by Fall of the Spectre's Gaze, Turn Up the Heat, Electrify, Solaris, Decimator, In the Shadows of the Blade, Pathfinder, and the last song would be called We Are the Night. So now I'm going to briefly tell you what the songs are like, starting with the first song, Sirens of Steel. Now, the opening track, Sirens of Steel, is a really good opening track. It's very old school. It sounds very produced like it was done in the 80s. Now, the opening track, Sirens of Steel, is a really good song, opening track. It's very old school. Kind of reminds me of a couple of bands. First of all, Striker from Canada and a band from the UK called Tail Gunner. Now, if you like both of these bands, I'm pretty much sure you're going to like this album. There are other influences in there as well, such as Angel Witch. Now, there's also a hint of Iron Maiden in the band's music, and also another band from the US called Savage Grace, especially the early stages of Fall from Grace. Now, this album was produced by Jamie Ellerton and the band at Ostradent Studios. The overall production is pretty good and strong. Takes me back to the old school 80s productions, like I said before. And with today's technology, the production is really, really good. But the sound and the songs in general take me back to the old school of 1980s. The glory years, metalheads. Now, the next song, Fall of the Spectre's Gaze. This is a must for Iron Maiden fans. Like I said, Iron Maiden, Savage Grace, Tail Gunner. This is a must for you guys. Vocals by Noel are fantastic. Old school. The music is very, very strong. Like I said, it's very melodic, very powerful. And they are a mixture of new wave of British heavy metal style of music crossed with old school power metal. Now, this song is very melodic and very catchy. Now, the next song is called Turn Up the Heat. This is a little bit more laid back to the 2 previous songs. It's not quite as strong as I thought it would be, but it's still a catchy song. Now, why do I think this song's not as good as the 2 previous songs? I don't think it's got the energy and power of the 2 previous songs. Don't get me wrong, it is a good song, but it just lacks something. Title track, Decimate, is probably one of the best songs in the album. This is a little bit more like it, a bit more stronger, some great melody hooks, some fantastic vocals, twists and turns on the guitars, but overall it's a great song. I'm going to give this album 3.5 out of 5. I think it's a pretty good album. However, I do feel that the band have got some way to go yet before they come up with a fantastic album. And to be fair, if you are a fan of the band, this is only my personal choice. I'd give it 4 out of 5. But for me, I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5. I think it's a pretty good album. I still think that the best is yet to come. So this is by Kryptos. The album's called Decimator and it's released on AFM Records. Thanks for watching, Metalheads. Please enjoy, please share, leave your comments and share on social media. My own reviews coming soon. Thanks for watching.